Welcome to the course on stochastic modeling. In this lecture, we will look at some of the properties of the Poisson stochastic process. First, we will consider the sum of two Poisson process, in the sense that we have two processes represented as n1 of t, n2 of t. They represent the number of Poisson events that occur in an interval 0 to t. They may have different rates. Let us assume that lambda 1 and lambda 2 be the rates of the process denoted as n1 of t and n2 of t. And let's say these two events together are being counted, and then we have a counting process wherein the events corresponding to both these processes are counted together. So basically we have a counting process which is a sum of two counting processes, and we can represent this combined process as n of t being equal to n1 of t plus n2 of t. So n1 of t corresponds to the Poisson events that has occurred in the interval 0 to t due to the process n1 with a parameter lambda 1, similarly n2. Whereas n of t corresponds to the number of events, aggregate events, number of events that has occurred either due to the Poisson process n1 or due to the Poisson process n2. Any one of these two events will count towards the number n of t. So we can give an example of such cases where two processes are being summed together. Supposing we have a router in a communication network where we have two links from which packets can arrive to the router. We have already modeled the arrival of process through one link to be a Poisson stochastic process with a rate lambda 1. Similarly, the arrival of packets through the other link is also being modeled as a Poisson stochastic process with a rate lambda 2. Now both these packets, both the packets that have arrived from both the links, link 1 and link 2, are being together stored in a buffer and they are being serviced. Now if you look at the combined packets that have arrived from either through link 1 and link 2, and that process is a sum of two Poisson processes, and we say that we have merged the two processes. In particular, what we have done is whether an event has occurred due to process 1 or due to process 2 are together being noted to account for the combined process. We call this kind of counting the event either due to one or more Poisson process as the statistical multiplexing. We know multiplexing is a one where we merge two streams into a single stream, and here we say it is a statistical multiplexing because we still note the time of arrival, but the arrivals can be either from one Poisson process or from the other Poisson process. Let us look at the characteristics of n of t, which is the resultant of n1 of t plus n2 of t. What will be the nature of this process is that is what we want to find out. Number one, it obeys all the it's basically a counting process, because here we count the number of arrivals that take place. It has to be non-negative and it cannot decrease, it can only remain same or increase. So it is a counting process. And because the individual processes n1 and n2 have independent increments, the combined process will also have independent increments. The number of arrivals over two non-overlapping intervals of the combined process again will have this independent nature, that occurrence of events in one interval is not going to influence the other one. First of all, these two processes are independent. Therefore, even within one process, number of arrivals in a former interval is not going to affect the number of arrivals in later one. This is independently true for each process, and because they are independent, number of arrivals through because of n1 in one interval is not going to affect n1 or n2 in the later interval, and therefore independence is being guaranteed. Further, if n1 and n2 is time stationary, the combined process will also be time stationary because it has all the properties that we expect a Poisson stochastic process to have, but the only thing is that whether the PMF has a Poisson structure. To this end, we will derive the probability that the number of events that occur in the merged process n of t equal to n. So if n events have to occur in an interval 0 to t, wherein these events can be either from n1 or n2, then there are many possibilities over which it can occur. There can be, let us say, r arrivals due to n1 and n minus r arrivals due to n2, together amounting to n events, where r is always less than or equal to n. So if there are all these possibilities will lead to a case where n of t is equal to n. And because the arrivals in n1 and n2 are independent, we can write these conditions. Okay, we can make use of this condition to arrive at the probability. It is the sum of all the probabilities of these mutually exclusive events. Each are mutually exclusive. What are they? That is sigma r varying from 0 to n of r events due to n1 process and n minus r events due to n2 process. So probability that r events occur due to n1 process whose rate is lambda 1 is given by e power of minus lambda r, it has to be r, lambda t power, sorry, e power of minus lambda 1 t, because the rate is lambda 1, the duration is t. So the Poisson parameter is lambda 1 into t into lambda 1 t power r by r factorial, whereas for the case of n2 it is e power of minus lambda 2 t into lambda 2 t power n minus r by n minus r factorial. Then we can simplify this as follows. Probability that n of t equal to n is equal to, we will take out the factors which are independent of this summation, namely that e power of minus lambda 1 t, e power of minus lambda 2 t here. Also the we can include an n factorial here, divide and multiply and take 1 in the denominator. So we will have e power of minus lambda 1 plus lambda 2 into t divided by 1 n factorial, and within the summation we will now have n factorial divided by r factorial n minus r factorial, which is nothing but ncr power lambda 1 t power r into lambda 2 t power n minus r with this sigma. So this is nothing but a binomial expansion of the term lambda 1 plus lambda 2 into t. Lambda 1 t plus lambda 2 t whole power n is ncr can be sigma r 0 to n ncr lambda 1 t power r lambda 2 t power n minus r. So we can write it like this one. Now it's clear that this has the same structure as the Poisson PMF, where the rate is now lambda 1 plus lambda 2. See here, lambda 1 plus lambda 2, call it as lambda, occurs here as well as here. So it is of the form e power of minus lambda t by n factorial lambda t power n, where lambda is lambda 1 plus lambda 2. So now we have got a Poisson process with a rate which is the sum of the rate of the individual processes which are being statistically multiplexed. There is yet another way of proving that the statistically multiplexed process will have a rate which is the sum of the rate of the individual processes. For that, first we will make use of the moment generating function, or MGF. The MGF of the Poisson process G of S, denoted as G of S, can be calculated as follows. G of S is nothing but expectation of S power n of t. So S is an auxiliary variable. N of t is the Poisson process, Poisson random variable at a time t, and you are taking the expectation of that. So n of t, its value can range from 0 to infinity. So what do we mean by taking expectation? That is, each of this factor for n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, s power 0, s power 1 and all these things, we have to multiply it by the corresponding PMF evaluated at that value and then add them together. That is what expectation is. That is sigma n equal to 0 to infinity s power n into probability that n of t equal to n. And we know that this probability is simply the Poisson PMF e power of minus lambda t power n by n factorial. So we have G of S, which is the MGF, which is expectation of s power n of t, is sigma n equal to 0 to infinity e power of minus lambda t power n by n factorial into s power n. Now what we can do is, we can club lambda t and s together to a term lambda t s power n by n factorial. You could take e power of minus lambda t outside, and if you do the remaining summation, it will be e power of plus lambda t s. Okay, so what we have is nothing but we will have simply e power of minus lambda t s is one factorial, and then another will be e power of minus lambda t. So we essentially have e power of minus lambda t into s plus 1. Okay, yeah. So we can make use of this MGF, and suppose we have two processes which are being summed. We know that to compute the density function, we have to perform a convolution of the density function of the two independent random variables which are being summed. But when it comes to the MGF, we have to multiply it. So if G1 of S is the MGF of the process N1, which is e power of minus lambda 1 t into s plus 1, because here lambda 1, the rate of N1 is being used. Similarly, G2 of S is e power of minus lambda 2 t into s plus 1. The combined process will have an MGF which is the product of these two MGFs. We have to simply sum the exponents. That is, we will have G of S e power of s into n of t is where n of t is n1 plus n2. What we are doing, we are just from multiplying the MGF, individual MGF, we will get e power of minus lambda 1 plus lambda 2 into the common factor t into 1 plus s. So that shows that the combined process has an MGF of this form, and we know that the MGFs are unique for every random process. They have the same form. So this is the form for a Poisson process, which automatically tells that the combined process is also a Poisson process, and the rate is given by this factor lambda 1 plus lambda 2. So the statistically multiplexed process is a process with a rate which is the sum of the individual processes. Then we will talk about what is called a thinning of a Poisson process. Now, in the previous example theorem, we looked at two Poisson processes being summed. Now we will talk about splitting of a given Poisson process into two Poisson processes. Okay. That is, you have one Poisson arrivals events that occur, but what we will do is, based on some criteria, we will fork the arrivals and create new stream of events. And the criteria we will use can be anything, but as long as the events are segregated into different streams in a manner which is independent of the criteria way in which the previous events are being segregated. We use the same rule, and each event is being labeled or segregated into one among the two queues in a manner which is independent of the way we segregated the previous one. So they are all, each arrivals are being independently being routed to one stream or another. Therefore we have got a forking and two streams are being realized. Let us assume that the reason, whatever may be the way by which we label the events that has occurred and put them into one stream or another, is such that we do it with a probability p, we send it to q, the stream number 1, and therefore with the probability 1 minus p, we send it to the stream number 2. So every event that has occurred in the Poisson stream is being forked into two streams. It goes to one stream with a probability p, another stream with a probability 1 minus p, and the next event is again forked in the same manner, but the p is remains the same and it is independent of the previous event where it goes. So some examples are as follows. We have a manufacturing facility where products are being manufactured, and let us assume that the manufacturing facility produces product at a Poisson rate with a rate lambda, but we do a quality check before being sent out for market. We find that there is a probability p with which a product may be faulty. Those are being discarded, so, and separated out. The remaining, which are good ones, are being sent. So now the original Poisson process is being divided into two Poisson processes. One with a probability p, we send it to one process, another with probability 1 minus p. The other cases, what we are doing is the product are being thinned down, reduced. That is why it is called as process of thinning. There can be other things. You may have customers, and based on their requirements to a banking one, some maybe would have come for withdrawal, some may would have come for depositing money, and again we know the probability with which a typical customer will withdraw or deposit. We segregate into two queues and send it to two tellers. That is one case. Or we have a case where births are being recorded, and we know the number of the births that take place in a metropolitan city can be modeled in a Poisson process. Later that we further segregate them into birth of male child and then female child, and we know the probability that a given child will be male based on the sex ratio in that place. So again we have a thinning. Okay. Again, on in a security counter, we may divide the passengers that arrive in an airport for security check into a separate queue for male and separate queue for female. All these corresponds to the case of thinning. So we will show that the individual process, thinned process, are themselves Poisson, and they will have a respective rate lambda p and lambda into 1 minus p. Okay, how do we can generalize this aspect also. We can label the events that occur into I different categories and generate each one with a probability P1, P2, P3 and so on. So with a probability Pi, we send it to the ith queue such that sigma I Pi is equal to 1. Then if the original rate is lambda, after thinning, the ith process will have a rate lambda times Pi. Okay, the individual rates would be lambda P1, lambda P2 and lambda Pi. So now let us assume that the process n of t greater than or equal to 0 is sampled into another process. We also call it a sampling. We only pick certain events from the whole events that has occurred and we note it down, and that is a sampled Poisson process, and the probability of sampling is p. Into another process m of t greater than 0, where with the probability p the events of the original process n of t are retained in the sampled process m of t. Then what is the probability that m of t equal to m or n given n of t is equal to n plus r? Out of the total n plus r events that has occurred in a time 0 to t in the original process, what is the probability that n of them would have been sampled and will belong to m of t? So that is totally there are only n events that has occurred, n plus r events that has occurred, out of which we look for n of them being sampled. Okay. Well, what is the probability that m of t equal to n, given that n of t is equal to n plus r? Okay. This is what we are interested in. In an interval 0 to t, what is the probability that n will come into the sampled process? That can happen when there are totally n plus r events that has occurred, out of which n has gone to the sampled process, r being removed, where the r itself can be anywhere from 0 to infinity. Because in the original process, at least n should have occurred, then only n would have gone to the sampled one. Any value more than n could occur, therefore r can range from 0 to infinity. Therefore, sigma r is equal to 0 to infinity n plus r n p power n 1 minus p power r. Okay, because n goes to the sampled process and one r of them are being not counted in the sampled process. And how many events should have totally occurred? N plus r event should have occurred. Then the corresponding Poisson PMF is e power minus lambda t power n plus r by n plus r factorial. Now we can then easily manipulate it and we have this formula. What we will have is, this is n plus r factorial divided by n factorial r factorial. That n plus r factorial here and here cancels each other. Then we will have here one e power of minus lambda t is there. Okay, and then here n factorial is also there. And then if you look at this one, we can split this into lambda t power n into lambda t power r, and they can be clubbed with these two things. P lambda t power n 1 minus p lambda t power r will be there, and with using all these things, okay, we can find out that, and we can write it like this. Okay, out of which we will take lambda pt power n outside, and only the r factorial has to be summed, and then on summing, okay, we can reduce to this term. Essentially, we have shown that the resultant sampled process is also Poisson in nature, and its rate is p times the original rate, where p is the probability of sampling. Next, we again recall the most important properties of the Poisson stochastic process and look at some more properties. So, a stochastic process n of t greater than or equal to 0 is said to be a counting process when it counts the number of events that occur in a time 0 to t. The most important counting process is the Poisson process. A counting process n of t greater than 0 is said to be a Poisson process with a rate lambda being positive if it holds the following properties. One, n of 0 has to be 0. That is without loss of generality. And it should have two properties being should be obeyed. One is the independent increment and another is the time stationarity. Then we have also shown that another way of interpretation of the Poisson process is that in a small interval h, where h tends to 0, the number of events, Poisson events that will occur in an interval t to t plus h, which is given by probability of n of t plus h minus n of t equal to 1, is proportional to h, and the proportionality constant is lambda. That is lambda h. But there is an error of order h. And probability that no events have occurred is simply 1 minus lambda h, and probability that more than one event has occurred is order h. Well, and the key properties of the Poisson process that we have seen is that the sum of two Poisson processes is again Poisson with a rate which is of the compound process being the sum of the rates of the individual process. A Poisson process with a rate lambda can be split into two Poisson processes with a probability p and 1 minus p, and their respective they will still be Poisson, and their respective rates will be lambda p and to lambda 1 minus p. Now we will look at the inter-arrival time between two Poisson processes of two events in a Poisson process and show that they are exponentially distributed. And this gives a close connection between the Poisson stochastic process and the exponential distribution. That is, the time between two successive Poisson events, n of t greater than or equal to 0, is what we are going to call as the inter-arrival time, or the inter-occurrence time between two events. Let us denote it by the symbol Ti, where I is the ith inter-arrival time. What we mean by that is, we look at the first event, second event, third event, and so on. We count the difference time interval between the zeroth means at the time of starting to the first event, call it as T1. Between the second event and the first event, call it as T2, T3, and so on. So we will have T1, T2, T3 with the respective inter-arrival times. We can put them together and construct a stochastic process denoted as Ti, I is equal to 1, 2, 3. We know that the Poisson process is a discrete state continuous time stochastic process, but this process Ti will be a continuous state discrete time stochastic process, because Ti can take any continuous values, but the index is I, the first inter-arrival time, second inter-arrival time, and so on, that is discrete. So these two are very related stochastic process. So how will be the nature of Ti's? First of all, we can see that by the independent increment nature of the Poisson stochastic process, the inter-arrival times has to be independent. And again we can assume that they should be identically distributed, because of this time stationarity, the inter-arrival time between the 10th and 11th customer and the 20th and 21st event or arrivals, they should not be different. So they are IID random variables. And what is the distribution? Let Ti be the intra-arrival time of the ith intra-arrival time. We are interested in finding the distribution of it. We will show that each of these intra-arrival time Ti are exponentially distributed with a mean 1 over lambda, where lambda is the Poisson rate. So therefore Ti will be exponential random variables with a parameter lambda. How do we show it? Let us look at the CCDF of Ti. That is probability that Ti has to be greater than T. This is just the probability of, that is the inter-arrival time has to be greater than T. That is the between the I and the I plus 1th customer, the time has to be greater than T, which means that between this no other customer would have arrived, because the ith customer has arrived. We are waiting for the I plus 1th customer, and we are interested in a case where the inter-arrival time is greater than T. So the I plus 1th arrival should not occur before T, which means there has to be a 0 arrivals in the interval T of duration T. So the probability of 0 Poisson arrivals in a duration T is what we are interested in. And we know that is given by e power of minus lambda t power 0 by 0 factorial. This is the CCDF. So therefore the CDF of Ti is 1 minus e power of minus lambda t, which means that they are exponentially distributed with a parameter lambda. So we see that the inter-arrival time is exponentially distributed. This is not only true for the first inter-arrival time. For any given intra-arrival time, it has to be true. Then we will look at the case where the time of occurrence of certain number of, it's not just the inter-arrival time between the time we have to wait for the arrival of the next customer is the inter-arrival time. The time we have to wait for the occurrence of certain number of customers, n customers. How will that time be distributed for a Poisson process? That is the time for occurrence of n Poisson events. To give an example, say the event is nothing but a counting of the number of customers who arrive at the shop. So first one is given that the 10th customer is already entered the shop. The time for the occurrence of the arrival of the 11th customer is the inter-arrival time between the 10th and 11th customer, and that is what we say it is an exponentially distributed one. One more example is suppose you have a bus. Whenever it arrives at a bus stop, the bus will not start unless 10 customers have arrived. So the time it takes for arrival of 10 customers is the sum of 10 intra-arrival times. How will they be distributed? It is easy to note that it is nothing but the sum of 10 IID exponentially distributed random variables, and that we know as a gamma distribution. And that is what precisely we will show, that the time of occurrence of 10 Poisson, a certain number of Poisson events, has a gamma distribution. Let the time of occurrence of the nth event, starting from a time t is equal to 0, the time of arrival of the nth event, let us denote it as Sn. Therefore, what it means is the time of arrival of the first event is S1, which is nothing but our inter-arrival time T1. The time of arrival of the second event is T1 plus T2, which we will denote it as S2. In a similar manner, the time of occurrence of the nth event, which we will call it as Sn, is nothing but sigma I varying from 1 to n Ta. First, we want to arrive at the characteristics of Sn. To that end, we will look at the CDF of Sn. That the probability that Sn is less than or equal to T. What it means is the time for the total time of arrival of n customers has to be less than or equal to t, which means that the number of arrivals that would have taken place in a time t has to be greater than or equal to n. If at least n arrivals should have occurred in a time t means the number of arrivals in a time t has to be greater than or equal to n. Both are two ways of stating the same condition. So this probability is what we will be equal to this probability that n of t greater than or equal to n. So the CDF of Sn, which is f Sn of t, that is probability that Sn is less than or equal to t, is the same as probability that n of t is greater than or equal to n, which is sigma, which can be found out using the Poisson PMF. You have to add all the PMF from n to infinity onwards. Sigma j n to infinity e power of minus lambda t power j by j factorial. This is the CDF of Sn. What is the density function of Sn? That can be obtained by differentiating the CDF with respect to t. So if you differentiate f Sn of t, or this sigma function with respect to t, you will see that there are two factors of t, e power of minus lambda t power j by j factorial. One thing, if you keep this constant, okay, if you differentiate with respect to t, you will get minus lambda into e power of minus lambda t into this one. And another, if you differentiate with respect to this one, you will get j lambda t power j minus 1 by j factorial. This j and j factorial will cancel and give rise to j minus 1 factorial. So you will have lambda t power j minus 1 by j minus 1 factorial. But in both the terms, lambda times e power of minus lambda t is there. So you can take this lambda e power of minus lambda t. And then these two factors are there. So you will see here you will have minus lambda. So you have to subtract one from another. One varies from n to infinity, another goes from n plus 1, n minus 1 to infinity. So if you subtract this summation, you will get lambda t power n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial. So how we get this factor is there are two summations we will get, taking the common factor out, and then you will have this summation. If you look at it, only the you will have lambda t power j by j minus 1 factorial. Only the term n will survive, others will get cancelled. So that will give you, in place of j minus 1, j you put n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial. You know that this as a gamma, this is nothing but the gamma distribution. So we finally arrive at the case that the sum of time taken for n Poisson events to occur as a gamma distribution. So we will stop at this point. We will look at some more properties of the Poisson stochastic process in the following lecture.